Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. And of course, Kelly Cook is with us today. And Kelly, here's my pop question for you. Um, so I know we've talked a little bit about last week you kind of talked a little bit about, the different advice that you had wished somebody had given you, which was about kind of which career path to go on to. I want to know when you graduated high school, started thinking about your career,
Oh boy.
what was your dream career that, I don't think it was real estate agent. I'm just gonna throw that out
Oh
there. So
yeah,
what
good
was it?
question. You know what? It was to be the next Jerry Maguire.
I had a feeling.
Yep. Yep. Sports agent. That's what I wanted to do. I want to be an NFL sports agent, to be specific. And by the way, I fulfilled that childhood dream. I actually became one. I became
Hmm.
one for license with the NFL Players Association for 5 years. And I was a runner for another agent from the East Coast for 2 years prior to that. So I actually did end up representing multiple different football players. The problem was they weren't drafted high enough or good enough, to basically make a
Yep.
living off of. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough of them, and they weren't good enough to
Successful
make.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, I could have kept slugging away, and a lot of people do that. But I just pivoted at that time, 100%. I was already, going about 80 hours a week, probably honestly, 70 hours a week. I was single, but yeah, pivoted and went all in on real estate at that point, saying, you know what, I just got to just have one true north. And I love that aspect, but it's just not working out the way
Yeah.
I always dreamed it would have.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, you're still an agent, so you're a real
Yes,
estate agent. But I
just a
mean,
different
hey,
kind.
yeah, you can say you fulfilled that dream and you're still living it. So wonderful.
Yeah, there
And
you
if you
go.
guys ever want to know how Kelly got started, like how that whole thing happened, I think we have a whole episode about it. It's probably way back in the logs. But go check that out because it's a pretty good story about how he, went down to Phoenix, lived with your sister, I think, for a
Yeah,
while. Yep.
spare bedroom.
So make sure you go check that story out. But today. Today we're going to talk about what his industry is now, and that's real estate, and that's presumably where all of you guys are at as well, involved in real estate in some way. And a really interesting article came out this week, kind of just going over who is buying houses. I know that you guys have we've been hearing it. Housing prices are high. It's very difficult for a lot of your buyers to get into homes right now with the interest rates and just the inflation of the homes. But one thing that really struck me as I was reading this article and shared it with Kelly is that we presume that most people buying homes right now are, first time home buyers, or buying their second home are people that are in their late 20s, maybe 30s, trying to get into the housing market. And that is really, according to data, not the case. The largest majority of home buyers is boomers, baby
What?
boomers. Yes, right? Which was wild to me. So
Wow.
we wanted to get into that and kind of what that means for you as an agent, like, knowing who your biggest pool of potential clients are, and apparently it's boomers. So let's talk about that. How does that affect your marketing, your messaging, all of that, Kelly?
Yeah, that's an interesting article that came out, Elizabeth. And I think it'd be good to at least take one step back and make sure people understand what age demographic, what years we are talking about with these different generational names, right? Because you have Gen X and you have Gen Z and you have
I think they all
boomers
get
and
lumped in together.
yeah, like
Like
what in the
you're either a
world?
boomer or you're a millennial, and there's like no in between
And
right
what
now.
order are they in? I don't
Yep.
even know. With these cool names, right? So let's go through that real quick. Let's take a step back and so the listeners understand that really fast. All right, the greatest generation, born 1901 to 1924, the silent generation, 25 to 45. The baby boomer generation, this is post World War II, 46 to 64. And then you have Generation X, 65 to 79. You have millennials, 80 to 94. You have Gen Z, 95 to 2012. Then you have Gen Alpha, which is out there. They probably can't buy houses yet, but that's 2013 to 2025. Those are your generational names in the years that correspond with that. So the article comes out and says that millennials are no longer the biggest pool of people looking to buy homes. And that's people from 80 to 94. 4. So quick math on that. What is that? That's 20 plus 43, and 14 years prior to that. So 29. Yeah, 29 to age 43. Those are your millennials. They were the biggest pool of people looking to buy a house, and for a little while. But that has changed. That has changed, actually. And in this article, it talks about the baby boomers. That's right. People between the ages of, 1946 and 1964. So again, some quick math on that. What is that? That's 35 plus 23. That's, somewhere in the ballpark of 50, call it 55-ish, right? And up. So 55 to for about, another 16, 18 years, somewhere in there. So call it 55 to 75, just round math.
Right.
So that's your biggest pool of people buying homes. And guys, it's not even close. So we want to get on here today and talk about knowing your audience. When you know your audience, you can do effective marketing, and that goes across the board, guys. You need to know who you're marketing to. So, Elizabeth and I were talking offline about, well, my marketing strategy is all TikTok. Now, that's not mine, Kelly Cook's, but maybe someone's having that conversation. And while that's good, and there are home buyers out there on TikTok, there's a lot of holes you can shoot in that marketing strategy if that's what it is. And that's only what it is. First of all, your marketing should be diverse. You should have different spokes in that wheel and be able to hit people in different types of those medians, not just one. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But knowing your audience is huge. In this case, the biggest audience is, again, we're calling age 55 to 75 approximately, the baby boomer generation. So right now, here are the stats on this. The stats right now, baby boomers in 2022 made up of 39% of all home purchases. 39%. Number 2 was actually the millennials. Millennials finally succumbed to that number 2 position at 28%. And Gen X came in at 24%.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have this.
Real quick, I also want to point out, just to kind of put that into perspective as well. I don't know the exact numbers, but I do know that millennials and baby boomers are very large generations. Generation X is a smaller generation. So it's coming in third at, most people buying, but it's also a smaller pool of people to begin with than millennials and boomers. So just kind of thinking about that as well, that I don't think that necessarily means that more millennials are doing something than in relation to Gen Z or Gen X, if that makes sense. So it's just a larger population, but Gen X still coming in third, not too far behind. That means that there are still a lot more people within that generation that are actively doing something, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I think Gen X, you have people that, are right about, I hate to admit it, my age or older, older.
Yeah, you're on the younger end of that.
Way on the younger end, but nonetheless. And so you have a lot of people that, that being said, their kids are going to be in middle school. Their kids are going to be maybe at the end of elementary school. The kids are going to be in high school. And typically the majority of people don't make moves during those time periods if they don't have to, right? You don't want to uproot the kids
pivotal
from the
years
school.
for kids,
yeah, exactly. Right. And their sports and their paradigm that they know. So the kids leave. And the kids leave, and then obviously things start to change there from the trends of relocation. So it makes sense. You combine that with the fact that rates are high, borrowing is not as easy as it once was for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's still, and prices are up. When prices go up, percentages of down payments go up, and you need cash, you need liquidity. Well, who has the most of that? Baby boomers. I mean, honestly, the silent generation, which is right in front of the baby boomers, they probably have the most of it. But they're getting up there in age. I mean, they're talking 75 plus, right? For the most part, generally speaking, that's 4% of the buying pool in the last year. And it's funny because they were 4, they were 5. And then, of course, as you go back in time in 2012, they were 10%. Well, yeah, because they were 10 years younger. So that matters too. So that being said, it just all kind of makes sense. And meanwhile, in 2019, Gen Z was pretty much 0% of the buying population. 4 years later, they were 4%. So they're increasing every year as they get older. It just makes a lot of sense. But going back to the marketing side, you need to know that audience and know how you pivot your message, not just from a marketing standpoint of, hey, this is why you should know about me and my real estate company. And this is why you should choose me to hopefully do your job the best way possible, but also for how you market a client's home. You need to be able
Yeah.
to pivot, and you need to be able to demographically target your client's home to the correct buying pool. That's huge, guys. And too many times agents will just get a house, they have a new listing, and they'll market to the masses. And that's it, the bare minimum. Why? Because it takes less effort. It also takes less money. And it's just easy. You can sit back and wait. Well, that's what gives real estate agents overall a fairly bad rap. But there are a small percentage of agents who don't treat it that way. They spend the extra money on the marketing. They spend the extra time to learn how to demographically target the right buying pool for their type of house. It's so true that in every city across America, you have different neighborhoods, different sizes of homes, older homes, newer homes, infill, urban, or out in the suburbs. And those, and obviously different demographics of people herd in these different areas, different types of housing. That's just kind of happens because humans are creatures that love to be around other types of humans that have similarities. And so that's what happens. So you need to be able to know, do you have a condo downtown in your city? That probably is not going to be the person who's 40 years old with 3 kids and married. Probably not. Good, but probably not. So therefore, why are you marketing to that group for that property? Take your dollars and instead put them where they'll be more effective to maybe that person who's a young professional, who's single, maybe the person who is the couple who are married, but the kids are gone and they want a lock and leave type situation downtown. So there's all these different nuances you need to know about. The problem is most agents don't either know that you can actually market someone like that, a pool of people based on age, or if they did know, they don't want to learn how to do it, or even worse, they don't want to spend the money, even though they're making a decent sized fee when it comes to the house selling. So our big thing is to always educate other agents as much as possible on going the extra step, going the extra mile to really try to target and spend the money the right way, target that group of people that has the highest propensity to buy your client's house. And then of course,
the warmest leads, essentially the same way that kind of market to somebody who's been on your website, they're already a warmer lead for you. The same way with go after those warmer leads that have a higher likelihood of converting, right, as buyers for your listing.
That's it. And then, of course, a lot of people, because humans are people who like to herd around other people that are like them. You would love, as an agent, I'm sure, to work with people that are somewhat like you, that have similarities to you. And it's not just necessarily age, but sometimes a lot of things that a lot of similarities come with age, right? It just happens. But people who maybe like the same things you like, and so on and so forth. Well, that'd be awesome to have a clientele base that was just full of those types of people that you could hang out, they're your tribe, that you love to spend time with all the time. Well, if that's the case, you should be obviously marketing to those people. Be authentic, be real, and make sure those people are being attracted to you because you're out there, you're putting yourself out there. However, you can't necessarily grow a business and scale a business if that's your goal by only just doing that. Therefore, you have to market to where the buyers are. In 2022 and leading 2023, this report by NAR and Business Insider is stating that right now it's going towards the baby boomers. It already is in 2022, and it's going there in 2023 as well for the same economic reasons primarily that we just discussed in 2022. Unless something changes dramatically, which it probably won't in 2023, you're going to have more of the same. So how can you pivot your marketing platform and your strategy to be able to reach more baby boomers? That's the question you need to leave and asking yourself, and then come up with a strategy on how to do that.
One thing, I think I just came up with this, but sometimes I see marketing for like a house, like it's a smaller home, not a lot of square footage or something like that, and it's marketed as, in the description of the MLS, great starter home or something like that. Don't do that anymore. Say great retirement home, right? Kind of like that's your
It could
audience
work.
of it could work. I mean,
It
absolutely,
could,
why not?
maybe.
It
Yeah.
could, and but that's kind of where the there's more people buying their retirement homes right now than their starter homes. So, I mean, market to that.
It's so true. Isn't that something how that works, right? Like in life too, we all start as babies, and then all of a sudden, you grow up, and then if you are lucky enough to make it to, I don't know, age 100, you're probably going to have some issues going on with health, and someone else has to take care of you again.
Yeah,
They took care
it's
of
a
you when you
cycle.
first grew up, and it's the cycle,
Mhm.
right? And they have to take care of you, and in between, you have this awesome time where you can do some cool stuff. But that's the cycle. So the same applies what Elizabeth just said to the housing market. The same first-time starter home could also be a perfect home for a
Or
retiree
downsizing or
and
yeah.
downsizing.
Mhm.
Correct. So yeah, you could pivot that either way, and that's what marketing is. Again, I heard marketing this state. I heard one time this statement about marketing a long time ago, and it always stuck with me. And it says that I'd rather be 10% different than 100% better, and that's marketing to me in a nutshell. You still want to be good. You still want to be great. You want to put good stuff out there. At the same time, if you can be just a little bit different than what everyone else is doing, you can zig when everyone else is zagging. You usually will be very successful, even though your
Yeah.
marketing may not be as slick or as sleek or as professionally produced or whatever it may be. So zig when other people are zagging, be 10% different than 100% better.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think real quick, just to wrap this up, kind of our messaging of know your audience, do the research, do the work, dare to be different and go after that target market, spend the money, right? Kind of all of those things. And just to bring it home, because this is something that we talk about all the time, be authentic, try to attract, people that are like you. But understand that you have to always be yourself, but make sure that you're taking into account the needs of others as well, so that you can create a sustainable business that scales.
Yeah.
Um, and if anybody wants to talk to you, Kelly, about this and about how they can be different, get any of your insights onto any of that, where can they reach you?
Hey, you know what? I always go with cell phone number first, and that's cool too, 480-227-2028. But social media, check us out on Instagram, Kelly Cook Homes. We're putting out a lot of cool stuff, at least one time a day. And we'd love to hear from you there. DM us, comment, let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are looking to build your team, if this is the year you're finally going to do it, or maybe you have one and you still just kind of, are thinking of, hey, how could I have done this better? What changes can I make? Go download buildyourrealestateteam.com. Kelly's full kind of list there of how he did it, and well, minus all the mistakes he made, how he wishes he would have done it to begin with. So go
Yeah.
download that. And other than that, we will see you guys all next week. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Sounds good. Thanks, Elizabeth.
All right.
See
See
ya.
ya.